Hello there, and welcome to Business Boot Camp, where you are building your CEO muscles. Thank you so much for being here. This is the day where I want to pull it all together for you. The reason I put together this telesummit was specifically for my entrepreneur friends who business is a big part of what we do. It is who we are, especially since we put our whole selves into the businesses that we are creating. And it's such a big part of our lives that I wanted to add it specifically for you. And my whole shtick is about lifestyle. I'm a lifestyle coach. It's about creating a life that you're excited about. And I just want to share with you how to put this all together for yourself. Searching for happiness does not work. Take it from me. 33% of Americans actually consider themselves happy. 33%. The other 67% are just going through the motions. They do not consider themselves happy. They're waiting for the right time, the right job, the right relationship, the right kids, the right home, the right this, the right that. And there's no finding it anywhere else but right here. I have been coaching for over 18 years. I started off as a fitness professional, and now I am a lifestyle coach. I am on a mission that you get to architect a life that you're excited about, period. When I was 15, I felt like I had it all together. I knew what I wanted, I was confident, and then something happened. Puberty, boys, life. And I too fell into the trap that happiness exists over there. My over there was at skinny. I thought that if I got skinny, I would find happiness. So I went on the journey and I tortured myself to get to the destination skinny. Size 14 to a size 0 by the time I was about 21. And it wasn't until I started getting friends that were like, Angela, are you okay? It wasn't until, my boss even came over and said, hey, Angela, you all right? You okay? What's going on? That I started to even look at pictures of myself. And when I started looking at pictures of myself, I realized I had hit my destination. I had hit skinny and didn't even know it. And I was heartbroken. I was heartbroken because all of life's questions weren't answered. I didn't all of a sudden get the amazing job and the great house and the happy husband and my life did not fall into place. If anything, I felt worse than when I started because the way I was treating my body was showing up in every other part of my life. Because I was torturing myself at the gym, I was torturing myself with food. I was torturing myself with my relationship. I was torturing myself with my family. I was torturing myself at work. I was torturing myself at home. I was not happy. And it wasn't until I started to let go. It was moving wasn't where happiness was. I moved to Hawaii, and I moved to Alaska, and I moved to Georgia, and I lived in Iceland, and I moved all over the place, and I didn't find happiness there either. That's when I got it. Happiness is not a destination, and having a life that I'm excited about has nothing to do with anything or anyone else. It has to do with me. Take a deep breath in and a full breath out. I just want you to notice how you feel in this moment. I want you to look at your life for just a second. Even if you have what you would call your dream life, there is a next level for you. There's, that saying that ripe fruit only goes down from there. You know what I mean. The idea is there's only growth where you're dying. And so I want to show you the secret to growth. I call it personal power. Personal power is owning that the world around you, what you're looking at in your home, in your office, wherever you're watching this right now, is because you created it. You walked there with your iPhone, or you put your computer there so that you can see what's around you, or you're in your living room, wherever you are, you created what's around you. Fine, so you didn't make the couch or the chair, but you bought it. Somebody bought it. You know somebody who bought it. You are the architect of the life around you. And what if, instead of it being this haphazard thing, we actually took charge of it and created it the way we wanted it to be? And then imagine if the world did that. If we created the world directly around us that we wanted, and we were completely thriving in who we were, we wouldn't attack people for their religion. We wouldn't attack people for their preferences and their choices. Instead, we would just be happy that they're happy. And that's what I'm up to. And I want you on that journey with me. So, I want to start with the 4 P's of personal power. Really, there's 5, but they go together. You'll see. So, the first one, you have to prioritize what's important to you. Prioritizing what's important to you means you have to get really clear about what it is that you want your life to look like. So I just want you to think about that for a second. When I ask you what you're the most proud of your past year, what would you tell me? And if we were to look forward, let's go 3 years from today. If I were to ask you what things in a perfect world you could create 3 years from now, what would you tell me? Whatever those things are that you would create 3 years from now, the things that you created behind you, those are all things that are important to you. Or you wouldn't remember them, you wouldn't know about them, and it wouldn't matter to you. That's where we start when we talk about prioritizing what's important to you. I have a client, and I love her. And I remember having this conversation with her. She would tell me all the time, I wish I could go to all my daughter's soccer games. I wish I could go to all my daughter's recitals and dance practices. I really wish I could be there. But my job keeps me there until 8 or 9 at night. And I looked at her and I said, I got it. I understand what you're saying is that it's really important to you that you build your career. She said, no. It's important to me that I go see my daughter play the piano and that I see her dance and that I see her win those soccer games. And I said, well, it's clear to me your actions say your job is what's the most important to you. And that's not wrong. But you have to choose powerfully if that's what you want. That opened her eyes to a whole different way of being. And this was not easy for her. But when she started to see that she really wasn't prioritizing watching her daughter do these things, and that she was indeed prioritizing her job, then she could make a powerful choice. In fact, she made such a powerful choice that she started to put boundaries around work. She went to her boss. She went to the people that worked for her and she said, I am done working until 8 at night. I work till 6 and then I'm out the door. If you need something after that, you're going to have to wait until tomorrow. This actually did a couple things for her. First thing it did is it made her more valuable at work. They honored her time at work. The second thing it did is it gave her more freedom. It allowed her to really love the life that she was leading. And it gave her a whole sense of self that she had not had before. And then she got to be with her daughter, which made everyone in her household happy. Yeah. I was really proud of her that she was able to come up with that, to put boundaries around it. Yeah, sure, there was some nights where she was there later, but because she was clear about what she wanted, she was able to make powerful decisions about what she wanted her life to look like. So that's where we start. Prioritize what's important to you. Next, once you've prioritized what's important to you, you have to put a plan in place. As we prioritize and put plan in place, you want to make sure that you hit all of these 4 areas. Your body, whatever it is that makes you money, your business, your job, your career, your spirit, and your mindset. All of life exists in those 4 areas. Your body is how you exist. It's your energy. It's how we communicate. It is what we were given in this world. You have to take care of it. You have to take action on taking care of it. Whatever it is that brings you money, we spend 80% of our lives working. You want to make sure that you actually find some fulfillment in what you do. So even if you hate your job, if your job is connected to something you love, for instance, if you love to travel, if your job is how you get to travel, then you can find fulfillment in what it is that you do for work. If you own a business and you're not fulfilled in what you're doing, then it's time to look at changing your business or getting a job. Too much energy is spent in places that we're not meant to be. When we look at our mindset and our spirit, this is our education and our traveling and our relationships with the universe. If you're religious, that's your relationship with God, your relationship with your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your kids. All of that is wrapped up in your mindset and your spirit. And so as you look at what's important to you, look at it through those 4 lenses. And as we start to create a plan, boom, this is what has your goals and your priorities exist in real time, exist in real life. I had another client who was determined to do the New York Triathlon with me. He was so excited at the idea of doing one triathlon in his life. So the New York Triathlon is an Olympic distance triathlon. So it's a 1,000-meter, 1,500-meter swim, followed by a 25-mile bike ride. Then you run 6.5 miles. 6 miles? 7 miles. Something like that. 6 or 7 miles. So when you look at it in toto, that's a big distance to go, especially if you've never done a triathlon before. We had to put a plan in place in order to have this giant goal happen. So instead of it being, okay, I have to run 6 miles, let's break it down and grow so that we can do the goal and cross the finish line. You have your own finish line, whether that's a 6-figure business, whether that's losing 20 pounds, whether that's finding love, whatever it is that your finish line is, there are steps you can take and a plan you need to put in place to create the life that you want. So we've prioritized what's important to you. We've put a plan in place. Next is the most important piece. You must press on. You have to proceed into action if you want the life you say you want. This is the hardest piece because it takes something, commitment. Commitment is about deciding what you want and going after it regardless of how you feel. Getting into action, proceeding, pressing on, has nothing to do with how you feel. Absolutely nothing. If your job is important to you and you don't feel like going, you're going to go anyway. Your kid, you don't want to go to the show. If your kid is important to you, you're going to go. If you want to cross that finish line of a triathlon, you don't feel like running today, guess what? You're not going to cross the finish line. Your commitment to what it is that you say is important to you will overrule any feelings you have about what it is that you need to do. This is so easy to say, but having a life you're excited about is being in action. And it's 3 areas really that you want to look at, really keeping yourself pressing on and pushing forward if you want to have a life that you're excited about. First place you want to look is, what are you giving? How are you giving? This isn't like just about charity, though it can be that, and you'll find a lot of fulfillment in giving to charity. But this is, what are you giving to the people around you, to the earth around you, to the life around you? Next, what are you connecting with? Again, this isn't just people. This is animals. This is the earth, the trees. Connecting, not just keeping yourself in your cave, in your office. And the next, are you moving? Whoop, whoop, whoop. You have to keep movement into you, into your body, into your day, into your life, if you want to find fulfillment in who you are. This last piece, I think, is the most important for any journey that you ever want to go on. We've already prioritized what's important to you. We've planned it out, put it in your calendar so that you can push on, you can proceed into action. The last piece is about partying. This is about celebrating every victory on the way to where you're going. When I was 15, looking at skinny being where happiness was, I was not focused on the journey. I was only looking at the finish line. When I did my Ironman, an Ironman is a 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike ride, and a full marathon of 26.2 miles to the finish line. Had I only been focused on the finish line and how far away it was and how much more I had to go, I never would have finished. An Ironman is like a 12, 13-hour race. So you have to remember that life is about the journey. It's not about the finish line. You have to celebrate and party every little step along the way. So I had a client whose goal was to lose 50 pounds. So, week 1, she gets on the scale and 5 pounds gone. I had to teach her to celebrate that that's great. That's 5 pounds done. That's 5 pounds gone. Boom. Next week, same thing. 5 pounds down. Look, you got another 5 pounds. Celebrate. Boom. And before she knew it, she could look backwards and she saw that she'd lost 35 pounds, 45 pounds, 55 pounds. Boom. But if she was just focused on that finish line, that I have to lose 50 pounds, she was never going to be happy. Never was going to be happy until she reached it. So start to learn to celebrate and be happy in this moment. The last piece I'm going to give you, and this is bonus. This is why I said it was 4 or 5, but I'll give you the 5. The 5th one. You have to find partners. Partners are about having people around you that will hold you high, This is about having people stand for you when you won't stand for yourself. This is why people hire personal trainers. This is why people have business coaches, triathlon coaches. This is why we have mentors, because they can see things when we can't see them in ourselves. So if you don't hire a coach, if you don't hire a trainer, if you don't hire that, that's fine. But surround yourself with people that will hold you accountable to what it is that you say is important to you. I am so lucky that I've had an opportunity to be part of business masterminds and have coaches and trainers, because without them, my excuses of why I can't would get in the way. And same thing with you. It's easy when it's someone else. We need to have support so that we really get to thrive in the life that we want to create. I have another client, and I remember going on this journey with her. It started with prioritizing what was really important to her. She wasn't sad, her life was fine, but she knew that there was another level for her. And so we started there with what is important to you. And it started with all the typical things that are important to all of us. My family's important to me. My job's important to me. She kept going. She kept listing things. And then something kind of jumped out of her mouth, like mentoring people, helping people, supporting people is really important to me, she said. Great. Let's figure out how to have that exist for you. And in taking that on, in really looking at that being important to her, we put a plan in place. She found a place where she could express that part of herself. And in doing that, it really became important to her that she got to do this more often. In fact, she was so inspired by the idea of mentoring people that she decided that's what she wanted to do for a living. She's like, I don't know how to do that. I mean, this is volunteer when I mentor for this program. I don't know how to make this be something that I can do for a living. So together, we came up with a plan. She approached her boss and said that that was something that was really important to her. She now gets to do that for a living. And it was really exciting to hear her voice. Like something really got to be expressed for her, that her job gets to incorporate what she loves the most. And it came out of knowing what was really important to her. I want that for you. Part of what's really exciting about having a life that you're excited about is that you get to be fully expressed in your life. You get to have joy, not from what's happening, but because of who you are. So I want to give you an invitation. I actually want you to be part of my 30-day challenge. This is a Facebook group where I'm going to give you a challenge, and you get to be part of a group of people that are stepping forward into the life of their dreams. We look at these areas. We look at body. We look at what makes you money. We look at your mindset and your spirit. And in 30 days, let's see what we can create for you. Let's see if you can have a life that you're excited about. For the first 10 people that sign up for my 30-day challenge, I will give you 30 minutes with me, and let's look at what is important to you. I'll take you through a process that we journal out, we do a little meditation, and you really get to get clear about who it is you want to be. I am so excited that you're here. I'm excited to go on this journey. I am excited about the life I get to live. and I want you to feel the same. So, with that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Do not hesitate to contact me. Let me know if you got any value out of our conversation, and I will see you soon.